You're watching Leafs Morning Take with host Nick Alberga and former NHLer Jay Rosehill. The show starts now.
All right, welcome back to South Florida, the Sunday edition of Leafs Morning Take, presented by Bet365. Nick Alberga here at Amerant Bank Arena. Jay Rosehill in the mix as well, getting set for Game 4 of Round 2 as the Maple Leafs look to take a 3-1 series stranglehold. How we feeling, Rosie, on this Sunday, buddy?
Yeah, they do. I don't know. It feels like they played a week ago.
I know.
And it is game day. You guys are down at Alberga Arena. So, Florida, were you getting after it a little bit? I saw some pool pics. I saw some FaceTiming. Oh, my goodness.
We took a peek. And if there's one thing we do on the road, as you might expect, when Jay Rosehill's not here, we show people Jay Rosehill fighting. So we showed a bunch of people at the bar last night. You fighting Lucic, you fighting Paul Bissonnette. Like, you're a team guy, man.
I saw that. Giving those Floridians a little taste of Western Canada, I like it.
They were inspired. We love some tough-nosed hockey, and that's the way the Maple Leafs are playing right now. Can't forget as well, our Super Chat charity partner this season is Sick Kids. Want to make sure that your question or comment gets on the show. Hit us up with a Super Chat. Proceeds from our Super Chat will go to Sick Kids, ranked the #1 research-intensive children's hospital in Canada and 3rd in the world, man. I'm still trying to come to grips with what I witnessed last night and that loss for the Edmonton Oilers. How do you recover from that, man?
I'm kind of annoyed at the ref for screwing it up and ruining the celly. It kind of reminded me of the Evander Kane or Patrick Kane overtime winner for the Hawks, when he's the only one in the entire building who knew that puck was in. And similar story yesterday, but like kind of a rough line change for the Oilers. Like, there's nothing the Oilers do that is conventional. And with some of their injuries and their goaltending, I didn't give them a chance. I've been hard on them at the end of the year going, why are they still touted? But they do such weird stuff, man. And they were up 2-0 in that game. I was joking around just saying, like, well, they need to go down a little bit in order to get into this game. And lo and behold, there they are. Score with 3 minutes left and then just lose in the most obnoxious way I think I've ever seen.
It's wild stuff, and again, the big story for me wasn't what happened with 0.4 remaining on the clock. It was the fact that Cal Pickard was nowhere to be found, and it was your boy Stuart Skinner. And along those lines, I'm sure you caught it the other night. You caught my clip on After Dark with Zach Phillips. Matt Murray, man, he strikes again. Hey, Rosie, he was ill. He couldn't back up the other night.
Yeah, I know. Some people...
Imagine being teammates with that guy, Rosie. How would you feel being teammates with Matt Murray?
I don't know, like, we should add up how many times it has happened. Like, I know a guy gets hurt, but like, I saw some of the comments there and people are like, are you nuts? You want him around your team to get you sick? And it's like, yeah, but I think those people don't really know the history of the guy and how frustrating he can be when you need him. He's got some phantom thing. I do remember sitting in the box with you one of the last games of the season or something like that, and we were going to watch the old Maple Leafs close out the season and see how Murray looked going to the playoffs or something, and he just pulled the chute right after warm-up. He gets hurt quite a bit, and he gets sick, and he can't go quite a bit. He's kind of – and some guys are like that. Some guys are battlers, and some guys just don't get hurt, and other guys do get hurt all the time. Some guys have bad groins, phenomenal players, and their careers are, a quarter of what they coulda, woulda, shoulda been, but they just can't stay healthy. I don't know how some guys it's a battle factor, and some guys just have brutal luck. So I don't know where he falls in that, but there's a pattern.
Yeah, there was a bigger story to that you left out. It was a Matt Murray revenge game. The Ottawa Senators in town. We were fired up. You brought me to the alumni box like you did with Amel Delic, our boss, the other day, and we were fired up to see Matt Murray take on his former team for the first time. He hurt his ankle in warm-up, but he was good enough to wear the ball cap on the bench. Don't worry, to back up that game. So everything's good.
And then the Hildebeest comes in. He's wide-eyed again.
You see his tan, dude?
All sunburnt and shit. Oh, I was laughing. Dude, I got caught in the exact same position as a young guy drafted by Tampa. We were a black ace one day, and I got burnt so bad on the volleyball court. I'm like 20 years old. And, I go out to BC all summer, and sunscreen's not really a thing. I get tanned and don't burn, and I'm in Florida. This prairie boy with not a lot of experience outside of Canada with the sun and the tropical climates, and we're playing volleyball all day. And I'm like, I don't need sunscreen. I was so burnt that I remember driving my car. It had peeled from my shoulders down my arm, and I remember looking at my knuckles on my steering wheel. My knuckles were the last thing to peel off. It was so brutal. I was trying to hide myself at the rink, and then I took baby powder and put it all over my face to try to like lessen the glow of red. And I went on the ice and it turned into this big film. It was an absolute disaster. I was 20, just freaking out, but a little bit of Hildebeest there going on.
Oh, definitely. And I think you look back at the last game, clearly goaltending was a big conversation. And of course, we're going to dive into that here on Leafs Morning Take. Should mention as well, we know there's going to be a Game 5 coming up Wednesday night in Toronto. We're throwing another Greta watch party. So Zach Phillips, myself, Vic Palladian, our producer, going to be on location. And we invite you as well, opentable.ca, gretabar.com if you want to book your reservations and watch the game with us, right?
It's a really good place to watch a game, actually. They've got a million screens, million spots to kind of set up. Where we were set up on the big screen was awesome. You can hear everything. There's still space, but it's got a wicked atmosphere. I'm kind of bummed that I am not going to be there, but I'm going to boogie home, and I will be set up in my normal spot, hopefully for some good vibes here in Game 4.
I like it. Speaking of good vibes, the Now We Go campaign is stronger than ever. Nationgear.ca if you want to pick up one of these beautiful T-shirts. I'm wearing the black one right now. We got a white one. We got a navy blue one as well. So help support the cause over at nationgear.ca. Lots coming on today's podcast, as we get set for Game 4. The Leafs, I mean, this is a massive swing game. It goes without saying, right, Rosie? You look at what's transpired in the first 2 games of this series, the Florida Panthers winning in OT. There needs to be some semblance of a response tonight by the Maple Leafs, right?
Yeah, have some trouble getting over the last one there. To have a couple 2-goal leads and to be in overtime, like you're obviously in that game and obviously close to winning it. The difference between 3-0 and 2-1 kind of hurts my soul, but obviously it's hockey, and that is the playoffs, and everyone goes through that, and you did not expect a sweep. Maybe even going up 3-0, and then going into this game, kind of just like, all right, well, when are we going to get, the fourth one? And maybe that Cat team comes on strong. I mean, they had, and I don't want to call it a scare, but they had to kind of adjust themselves against Ottawa. So maybe just kind of really getting their backs, not against the wall, but getting tested and put in a situation where you're like, oh no, this job is far from over. Will be good for them. We will see. I love their starts for the most part. And the one game that it wasn't the greatest start, their response has always been great. I don't know. This team feels like they're more in control of their game and dictating what happens out there than I have seen this team ever be. Let's just call it that. Wool has to be solid. Big boys, it's the same stuff, man. It's just the same stuff. The formula doesn't change. And in that locker room, and you hear it with like Berube's interviews, like the same stuff comes out of their mouths because you have to do the same type of things game in and game out. Big start I'm looking for. I want them to be in control. I honestly think they're the better team, and I didn't know that going into this series. I believe they're the better team, and we haven't even seen all our big guns at full stroke, not even close.
It's funny, man. I look at the numbers, and I saw a pretty interesting number on social media yesterday about time leading in the series. I think the Panthers have led for a grand total of like 11 minutes, and the Leafs have led for like 110 minutes. It's night and day, and I think they're in a really good position. I know the Panthers pull that out, but I think all things considered, you'd be happy to be up 2-1 in this series. At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Leafs Morning Take wherever you find your podcasts. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. Don't forget as well to check out the LeafsNation.com. Sure remind you as well, coming up tonight, the Leaf Nation After Dark. We're going to have lots covered here from Amerant Bank Arena and get you set, obviously, for the next game, but also recap what's transpired in Game 4. So Zach Phillips will have you covered directly following the game. But it just had to be Brad Marchand. Looking back at Game 3, if you were to guess who was going to score that winner for the Panthers, you just knew it was going to be him, eh?
Yes, you probably were putting good money down if you put it on him, Marchand. Yeah, he's a big game player. He has been a long time. There's lots of those in the league, but he has, a special place for the Maple Leafs in his heart. And it's, I don't know what you say about that. You chuck some piece of garbage on net, bounces off a bunch of shit, and flutters over the goalie and kind of flooded. Just one of those goals. We had one. To tie the game up as well with Morgan Riley scoring. They're happening in all the games. As good as some of the hockey is, there's also some of these fluttery ones that go in. But in overtime, in the playoffs, a shot on net is huge. Look at the beginning of the game. It was damn close to Marner's last goal where he just kind of fires one up high on Bobber through traffic. The one went in. That was game 2, I think, that big goal from Marner. Game 3 to open the first period up, bounces off a crossbar and on Knies. Like, get pucks on net the way Marchand was doing. Continue to do. You're getting bounces. You've got those seeing eye shots. You're getting screens. You've got guys like Knies in front who can gather that and keep the bodies away and get time and space in front of there. You've got to keep getting to Bobber that way. And it seems like those ones that you just don't really think to fire at the net, and these high skill guys want the puck on their stick. They don't want to give it away, so they're kind of reluctant at times to fire those kinds of shots. But I'm noticing that they're leading to a lot of high end chances on both sides of the ice as well. But I mean, you just got to keep Bobber on his heels, keep him guessing, don't let him get hot, and Wolves got to do the same, man. You can't have a softie. You can't have a softie.
The Nosek one was tough. The Nosek one was tough, wasn't it?
Like, he scored 1 goal this year. He's like me out there, like firing that way when you can see it. I don't know what happened there, but the margins are too thin, as you can see. The margins are very thin. A bad line change could be the goddamn difference in a game and in these playoffs. So just got to be sharper. He's making some big saves. He looks all right. He doesn't look shaky. It's not like we got, the Skinner thing going on from last night. That poor guy. Like, if they could have gotten any goalie, like, it's crazy. And goaltending's so huge at this time of the year. I want to keep Bobber on his heels. I want to start solving them. Upstairs seems to be the spot to get it. And I would love for Wold to have one of those standout games, and maybe they win 3-1 and it's on the back of him and he's the first star and everyone goes and says, wow, that was like a coming out party for Joseph Woll.
I was going to say it's pretty interesting because I didn't expect this type of series where it's just offense. I think widely regarded as two of the better defensive teams in hockey. I was expecting like 3-1 games, and the fact that you've played 3 games and you've scored 13 goals on Sergei Bobrovsky, you should probably be in pretty good standing, no?
Yeah, you'd think so. It's hard to know what a series. A lot of people predict it's going to be this, it's going to be that, and sometimes it's not. And just the way teams match up, the style of playoff hockey they choose to play, goaltending is always a huge issue. Oftentimes you get in a series where it's just this goaltending battle, and every goal needs to be scratched and clawed for. And other times you're wanting one of the goalies to step up and steal a game, but they're having trouble doing that, and it's a bit of a shootout. So it doesn't really matter. The game plan doesn't really change, I don't think, for these guys. They know what they have to do. But again, I have really felt good because in the past, man, it just seems like the Leafs are scratching and clawing, and there's a whole bunch of maybes and there's a whole bunch of hopers. And now it just seems like you're driving the bus. They're in much better control than they have been in the past. There's not a lot of worry. Again, I can't say enough about their response. No matter kind of what's going on in that game, they seem to just be able to relinquish control again or regain control. And it's such a welcome feeling because you're not on eggshells and you have this it's not a hope anymore. It's an ability and a knowledge that they're fine. They are fine. Watch this. Just watch this. And they seem to come through all the time. So this is a big test again. Every game is going to be a new big test. But you don't want to go back home tied, even though it wouldn't be the most disastrous thing in the world. You'd just be in a dogfight. You want that 2-game lead back, and you want to go back to where you've had a bunch of success recently.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, I think they've looked really, really engaged. And I mentioned this on After Dark the other night where I'm proud to be a Leafs fan. I know that doesn't win you any medals or Stanley Cups, but I think the process and the way this team is playing right now, Rosie, I think I can get behind. Like, they're coming at them in waves. That Lawton line has been very, very dialed in. Even the way the Matthews line started Game 3 of this series, scoring that goal. And this is the obligatory spot in the podcast where we talk about Matthew Knies. Again, I thought he made a difference the other night. We just have to talk about him. Is that good, Rosie?
Oh, yeah, I don't think that – just imagine he's not there. Like, who do you play with those big boys? Who's doing that heavy lifting, that dirty work, some of the big goals he's got and setups he's had? You're just not in the same position without that one player. He is a lot. You need a lot of players. You need to be able to say that about a lot of players if you're going to go on a deep run. But he is 100% one of them, and the team's just not the same without him, and that's unbelievable. He's in his second full year, 22 years old. It's just a real head shaker. But he has absolutely popped off. And in a lot of ways, he is kind of an engine that drives this thing. Like, people will get behind him. I know the superstars kind of do their own thing and they're able to play their own way. A Willie and a Mitch, fine. But he's the guy that's just like, I'm going to give you guys the template on what has to happen. And he sets the table for, the Domies and the Pacioretty and all these guys behind him to kind of follow suit. And it's playoff hockey down to a T.
You know what's annoying? A 7:30 start time for this game, but so be it. As we head down now to the Panthers practice rink, the morning skates taking place right now. Our Stephen Ellis joins us. What's going on, bud?
Yeah, puck drops are terrible. I hate them. I want to, the flight tomorrow is pretty early. I want to go home at a good time, and that doesn't sound like that's going to happen, especially if we go to overtime today.
It's okay.
Especially after going out and having a couple last night out there. I saw you, big boy. You guys have a good time down there? You guys bitch about your work trips. They look pretty good to me.
Well, there's a lot worse places than being in Fort Lauderdale on a weekend.
Yeah.
You're the MVP of last night, pulling out the Rosie Lucic fight. Was that the fight where you got called a career hatchet man, by the way, Rosie?
Oh, yeah, that's her.
Good fight, though. Good fight. So, Stephen, we look forward to Game 4. What's the sense? What's the mood out there?
Right now the players are just hitting the ice. I'm not sure how many players are going to be out there. And obviously you look at the fact they lost Game 3, and it was a kind of a tough one with all those really bad bounces. Like, have you guys seen a game where that many pucks went in off of a defenseman? That felt like I've never seen that before. So, you could look at that and say, okay, some of those are unlucky bounces. How do we bounce back? And for me, the guy I'm watching here is Joseph Woll, and I'm a goalie guy, so of course I like to see that. But with Woll, it's that fourth goal wasn't great. That I know you look at the advanced analytics, some of those were just goals he's got to save. But then on the other hand, it's like he was scored on his own net 3 times. So we'll see how he bounces back. We know that when he gets hot, he's a tough goalie to beat, and I'd still think he was better than Sergei Bobrovsky up until overtime in the last game. So if the Leafs could win the goalie battle tonight, it might be a 3-1 series.
That is huge. Any different bodies, line combinations, things are going to be status quo at this point, I imagine, you think, or are they out there yet?
Right now, I think there's 5 guys on the ice, so kind of hard, kind of too early to tell.
Yeah, it gets optional this time of year, but I think we can all agree from the Maple Leafs perspective, aside from the goaltending, Stephen, what's been your assessment of Austin Matthews? 2 goals in 9 games. We could talk all we want about the defensive aspect, but when you have 69 tucks in one season, you just got to grab one game by the balls at least, no?
Yeah, this is a guy who's got the most missed shots of any player in the playoffs right now. He's also, I think, second shots in the second round. So he's had these opportunities. He's had a lot of missed opportunities, but high-volume shooters will shoot a lot. What a shot. Defensively, yeah, there's been some actual, absolute positives there, but that's not why you're paying him the big bucks. That's not, he's one of the best goal scorers in the NHL. You're not paying for him to score 2 goals in 9-10 games, whatever it is. So he's got to go out there and pick his spots a bit better. You look at it, you expect that he's playing injured because he's not ripping those shots that we're used to. He's not getting in those scoring lanes. And when he's shooting, he looks a bit more like a beer league player at times. So we know that he's got that skill. He can take over a game and put the pucks in the net better than almost anybody. We haven't seen that yet. But on the other hand, John Tavares getting 2 goals after a bit of a slow start to the series offensively. That's a big deal. And Matthew Knies, we know he can still score. So this team has shown they could definitely still put pucks in the net, and Sergei Bobrovsky hasn't been great. But once you get those goals from Austin Matthews, that unlocks a whole other level for this team.
Your boots on the ground watching these guys, mess around before practice and pregame skate. Is Austin Matthews laboring in any way? Is he taking those one-timers from that right wing spot? Does he look like he's ginger in any ways, or does he look completely normal? Everyone's trying to solve this puzzle of what the hell's going on with him. I mean, the numbers are kind of out now, missing the net more than anyone, and he's a guy that puts it wherever he wants. And now these numbers of you've missed the net more than anyone in the entire league. Do you notice anything out there? Is he taking some shots off, or what are you seeing?
It feels like in practice you'd see him take a lot more one-timers than he usually we're seeing fewer of those, I should say, right now. So it feels like, again, that guy's got such a good release. That's what makes him the model player for any goal scorer that you see coming up in the prospect ranks, just because he's got a deceptive shot, a good release, and we're just not seeing that as much. It's hard to take that that away from a practice or a morning skate, but these guys have their routine, so you can kind of start to follow those trends. And the one thing, at least from watching that warm-up back a couple of days ago, it's he wasn't taking a ton of hard shots. He was shooting, but just not the power that we're used to. So again, we'll have to see kind of what happens here in practice.
Yeah, I'm pretty much Dr. Nick Riviera, and this guy was Mr. Precision last year, where it's 3 shots, 3 goals, and now it's like 1 goal on 5 shots, 1 goal on 7 shots. There's got to be something cooking here, boys, but I would invite everybody to go check out over at theleafsnation.com Steven's latest article on the Leafs not being concerned about Matthews' lack of scoring. But how could you not be concerned about Austin Matthews right now? Again, I think he has to be a big story. The core 4 in general, and I think you would agree, Stevens, probably delivered so far in the playoffs, though, no?
Yeah, like you just look at the numbers, and Tavares, it was good to see him go out there and do what he did last night. Obviously, Marner has been good. I think Nylander is seriously a contender here for playoff MVP if the Leafs go far. So that's good. And Morgan Rielly's got a few goals. I think he's got the 4 in this playoffs, which that's good to see from him too. So, but for me, as good as the core is, I've said this before, I really care more about really how that depth is doing. And because if you're going to have these guys that are so much pressure on them and defense are zeroing on them, if you take that pressure away and the other guys are scoring, that makes it a little easier. And that's the one thing that Toronto did really well against Ottawa. They were getting goals from everyone. Max Pacioretty was important, things like that. So I think that I'm happy to see what the core is doing, but it's those elimination games that really matter, right? And that's the thing where you look at Mitch Marner's lack of production in those important games. And when the Leafs get to that situation, will he show up? We'll have to see.
The dam has to burst as well for Bob McMahon's another guy I'm looking for at some point in time that ATG is going to hit. Steven, excellent job. We'll see you later on route to the game, okay?
Yep. See you guys.
Anytime. That is Stephen Ellis at the practice rink for the Florida Panthers. The Leafs, I believe, just hitting the ice for the morning skate here ahead of Game 4, trying to take a 3-1 series stranglehold. But, Rosie, without question, Bob McMahon's a guy who they have to find a way to get going. And I think he's looked engaged. He's played much better the last couple games. We've seen him take a couple shifts with the big boys and Nylander and Tavares. But I think it would just unlock so much. It goes without saying with Matthews. But Bob McMahon was a key contributor. What do you have, like 20 goals in the regular season?
Yeah, 20 rips, man.
Yeah.
It shows that you can do it. I mean, his release, you hear Eli talking about Austin Matthews' release right there. Bobby McMahon's release is world class. He can rip it. He's a big enough body that I would like to see him throw it around, like just with disregard, like just fly into the corners, run everything, just have that bull in a china shop feel to it, and see if you can get some space out there and get some bounces and turn something over behind the net and pop out front and shovel one in, like that kind of a goal. I think he's got to get one of those, and just it's weird because I don't know if it's weird or not. He seems to kind of score in bunches. Like when he was hot there, we were talking about him all the time, and then we didn't really talk about him at the beginning of the season, and he kind of got hot, and then then you're again and get him on that second line, and then he's kind of gone away again. So maybe a little bit streaky. Everyone can be that way, but it very well could be one of those ones where you pot one and the levee breaks. But I think that I'd like to see him play with a little bit more reckless abandon out there and just force something to happen. He looks like he's kind of gliding that last step and waiting to see what happens on that play, and just kind of a little bit of hesitation. And when a guy like him, who's kind of a cross between, a bit of a mucker, bit of a grinder, at least he needs to be, and then he's got some touch and some ability and some talent, like you got to blend those things together. And that if that talent's not rising through, you got to pump up the volume on the other stuff. And I'd like to see him play a little more bull in a china shop and maybe blow someone up and turn some pucks over and just really muck out a gritty one. And it would be one of those monster ones, I think, that could really suck the life out of the Florida Panthers. Who knows when and where it can happen, but it's probably not going to happen the way it's going right now unless you're really willing to get gritty and dirty and force something to happen.
At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Coming up a bit later on at 1 p.m. Eastern Time, The Sheet with Jeff Merrick live on location here at Amerant Bank Arena. Greg Wyshynski dropping by the program today as we get set for the next schedule of games coming up today in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But, man, there's been a lot of really pleasant stories for the Maple Leafs so far through 9 games here in the Stanley Cup playoffs. But, dude, the identity that the Lawton line has found and the trust from the coaching staff, I think, has been great. It's been excellent. Like, if you recall how shitty of a start it was for Lawton to where he's playing right now and how he's playing, that, like, even Calle Yarncroke's a guy took a lot of heat, but I like sort of the pace they're playing with right now, those guys. They're always in the O-zone too, which is great.
Yeah, they kind of set the table for the other lines to come out, which is kind of what you need to do. You look at the ice time. Not everyone's built that way, and it's spread out so well, and he's kind of rolling lines, and there's some pretty key like D-zone face-offs at some really key points in the game, and you'll have those guys out. Or like it almost doesn't matter. Like you have trust in everyone, and everyone's bringing kind of the same energy and understanding and template to the game that you can keep them out. Sometimes it's like, oh God, where are we gonna shove this fourth line in there, and you're doing it just to get the top couple lines a bit of a breather quickly, and you're hoping that there isn't a breakdown, or you give them momentum, or you take a penalty. Like you're putting them out there hoping that there's no disaster just to get your big boys a blow, and that's certainly not the case here. They're rolling them. Everyone's effective. Everyone's capable of keeping the momentum, which is huge. I think they've had the momentum the vast majority of this series, which I thought was going to be very difficult, and it is, but they're just achieving that with their play. And yes, they're deep down the lineup. I give hats off to Tree Living for getting these guys in that can play a certain style that is effective in the playoffs. Like right now, these guys that he's got in those depth positions, they're capable of playing, and they're capable of doing what Craig Berube wants to and needs to. Therefore, you can roll the lines and keep that momentum and have, not beat the wheels off of your big boys trying to keep them out there 24/7. Because if this goes 6 games or 7 games, you're going to need those guys. If you get a long overtime game, you're going to need those guys, and spreading those minutes out is massive, and not every team is capable of doing it like this guy's is.
Got some news from the morning skate. The captain's not on the ice. Austin Matthews not on the ice for the Toronto Maple Leafs at the morning skate. So
I'd take that with a grain of salt.
The entire team's on the ice. The captain's not there. But yeah, again, there's something cooking. Yeah, everybody's there, all accounted for, but Austin Matthews not on the ice.
I thought we were getting to the time where there'd be some options taken by some veterans.
There's something going on. There's something like remember early in the playoffs, he took the rest day and how bad he played after that rest day too. Like there's something going on here.
You guys, listen, is Austin Matthews a complete ghost out there? No, he's not. Yeah. Is he himself out there? No, he's not. Is he doing a lot of things, face-offs, defensive, just solid defensive play, blocking shots? Yeah, he's doing all that stuff. But you don't take your generational goal scorer and turn him into a pretty darn good third liner. That's not what you do. Everyone's like, he's just doing the right things in the playoffs. No, you don't take a world-class talent scoring machine and turn him into a third liner. That's not what this is. It's phenomenal he's doing all that other stuff, but you kind of need to do that on top of scoring that monster goal and getting your team back in it and scoring in overtime and getting the insurance goal. He's not doing any of that stuff, and the third line stuff is great, but it's not good enough for this guy who is at the top of the league in so many facets. He is hurt. He is injured. He has been all year, and now I don't know to what degree he's been playing through this injury, but it might come to a head here where it's not even worth going anymore because he just can't physically do it, and I guess we'll see. At first, I'm like, that's an optional skate. He's just staying off. Why put more miles on something that's hurting? And now I'm thinking, oh, Lord, we might be coming to a head here with this guy.
A good sign, though, texting back and forth with Stephen Ellis, it looks like David Kampf is a placeholder on that Marner-Knies line. And if Kampf plays, he's not centering those guys, which leads me to believe that maybe Matthews got the option today.
Yeah, and with those guys, it's like, well, take him out of the lineup. Okay, well, for who, and what does that do to your lines? Yeah. It's just a matter of percentages. Like, if he's at is 60% of Austin Matthews better than 100% of take your pick, or a Bobby McMahon, or Nick Robertson, or who does that bump up to the top line? Like, is it better to have this guy at what percent? And you just got to keep evaluating what percentages you're at, and all of a sudden it becomes maybe time where it's not worth it, or sometimes it's like, this is absolutely worth it, keeping him in even at this point in time. You also got to look at the players long term, the effects of his long-term career. Like, are you doing more damage to this guy? What is the injury? And unfortunately, with the Maple Leafs, they keep their cards so close to their vest. I don't even know if after this playoff, stint that we'll even hear anything about the guy. But clearly not at 100%.
Exactly. I mean, that's sort of my dissection of it is, like, again, Dr. Nick Riviera from The Simpsons, but there's no way where you go from 3 shots, 3 goals last year, now he's just not the same player. And again, I agree with you. I think even 60% of Austin Matthews I'm taking over David Kampf. So that's the latest in the morning skate. No Austin Matthews ahead of Game 4 on the ice. We'll find out when Craig Berube speaks a bit later on. At the Leafs Nation 401, again, live on location here at Amerant Bank Arena. Nick Alberga here alongside Jay Rosehill. In support of Sick Kids, we do have a super chat. Robert Bett, thank you so much for the super chat. Hey, Jay, yes, I remember you playing for the Leafs. Did you get traded from the Marlies? How you ended up in Philly in games like these? I miss Tucker. And also watching Wool reminds me a lot of Tim Thomas playing for the Bruins. A great run-on sentence here from Robert.
No, I did 3 years with the Leafs organization, and then the lockout happened. So I was just in limbo, unsigned, not sure what was going to happen. And then when the league got going again, I was playing for the Ducks organization briefly, and they traded me to Philadelphia.
Got you.
For Harry Zollner.
Yeah, Harry Z.
A block busty, no doubt. But, yeah, and that was it. It was just kind of anticlimactic, my end with the Maple Leafs. That lockout was right in the middle of my prime. I am not a fan of that one. Old Gary Bettman was doing his thing for his owners, and not ideal, but it's a story for everybody, and that was the end of my Maple Leafs journey.
I'm happy we can come.
They went on to bigger and better things, to say the least.
I'm happy we can sort that out ahead of Game 4 of Round 2 here of the Stanley Cup.
Exactly.
Like what?
Hey, people want to know. People want to know.
What dumpster did Nick Alberga roll out of? People want to know. People want to know, right?
I'm struggling with this show, man, because we know what to do, and it's just a matter of I just can't. Every game, I'm finding myself, I just cannot wait for puck drop.
I know, excitement.
Just to see like who steps up, who scores first, who looks better, who has momentum, who's banging, who do you think wants it more, whose goalie's doing what, and it's so bloody exciting. This is the greatest time of the year, and it's not even close. And I'm just savoring it because. Again, we're down Stolars, our star goalie, and Austin Matthews. We're debating at how close to 50, is he even at 50% right now?
Yeah,
and isn't even on the ice. He is limping along. You would think that everyone would be melting down right now, basically throwing in the towel. That's what happens in the past with this team with any bit of adversity, and that shows me that everyone's just hoping. Nobody has any belief. And as soon as you hit a bump in the road, it's, we're screwed. We're screwed. And that's just the mentality of, it seems like it's the players sometimes. It's certainly the fans. It's guys like us in different media avenues. And nowadays it's yeah, that's fine. They can be fine. They'll fit this guy in and he'll plug away and he'll be good. It's they're in such better control. And
yeah,
I don't want to say it came out of nowhere, but it absolutely is just this season. And it is Tree Living and Berube and these guys and the way they're playing and their new system and their new mentality. It's given them this attitude that is contagious, and it's pure belief from everyone, from what you can see from the players to the media to the fans. It's so much different, and savor this ride, man. I don't know how special it's going to be and how far they're going to go, but it is absolutely different than teams in the past. We're not even worried, despite some of the massive adversity they've already faced.
Well, the thing that gets me is I watch the games and they're playing playoff hockey. How many times in recent memory do you watch a playoff game and the Leafs will win, the game, and you leave the game with a sour taste? Even when they lose, I leave optimistic and feeling positive the way I did the other night when Brad Marchand scores that. It's a process. I think a lot of it is preparation. urgency, desperation, like all those buzzwords have been there for the most part, with the exception of the one game against Ottawa where they were a bit lackluster, still had a chance to win that game. Like, I think the process and like the product too just looks a lot different in the way you're supposed to play and find success in the Stanley Cup playoffs. Would you agree?
I would. It definitely looks different. I hate to say it or go down that avenue, but
Yeah.
Kyle Dubas built that team. Like, everyone else is playing playoff hockey, and he wanted to build a team that was going to play street hockey and try to win because they're so good at playing street hockey. And you get there, and it's like they're not even close. Like, do you not see what teams are doing to get to that Stanley Cup? I mean, my rant on Marner kind of summed that up. Like, what are you watching at the end of every season that makes you think that this product is going to get you to the promised land? I mean, those guys go to war. They do things a certain way. It's every team, and the teams that don't commit to doing it a certain way, they're gone and they're out. And then here are the Leafs thinking they're, number crunching calculators are going to get them to the prize. It was just annoying. And that has changed in a big hurry. And it's a combination of tree living in Berube. And the players have adopted it. That's the big thing. Sometimes you come in there and try to instill a system, and you just run into, your leadership core, your stars are just reluctant to adopt something new. And then you get all this division in the locker room and reluctance and, infighting in the locker room. And lots of teams go through that too with coaching changes and new systems and styles. This team has adopted it, and they look damn good doing it, and it hasn't taken away from their offense. It's just a new generation of Toronto Maple Leafs. And like you mentioned earlier in the show, you're proud of it now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, before we're kind of the butt end of jokes. That's fine. We kind of deserve that with some of the meltdowns they've had. You get a lot of buts from teams, but the only thing you have is that you're so monstrous in your history and the size of everything and the money the team has. So they're just kind of first class with everything, and that's fine. But it only goes so far. And now you're like, no, I'm proud of this team. I believe in this team. I'm on the text chat, and people are saying, God damn, do the Leafs look good. And I mean, that feels good for once. So again, really enjoying this ride, and have total belief in what they can do.
Far from over for sure. And by the way, just more coming from the morning skate. I believe the Leafs told some media members, I don't know if it's official on Twitter, but Austin Matthews expects to play in this game. He took the option. We talked about Kampf being the placeholder on the top line. Mitch Marner leading the stretch post-practice, I believe. But that's good news. I mean, rest up, maybe get a late sleep, a nice breakfast, and maybe a better nap in the afternoon and get set for Game 4 here. I really don't care if he skates in the mornings.
Yeah, 100% useless as far as like how good he's going to be out there in the game. Whatever is ailing him, he's going to get extra treatment on it. The trainers are going to have a routine of doing XYZ to him, whatever it happens to be, and then every day they're going to evaluate what percentage are you at. Are you better or worse than yesterday? How do you feel this morning compared to the beginning of Game 3? How do you feel post-game compared to you did at the end of post-game 2? And just evaluate constantly. And to go out there and snap a puck, like, what are you going to get better this morning in your 15-minute loop and shoot?
Yeah.
No. And does maybe certain things possibly aggravate it? Possibly. So just stay off the ice. I don't think he's going to be any different, any worse. But I guess it makes sense. Just keep him off, man. Get the treatment, and no harm, no foul. I'm glad that there's not a big jumble in the lineup right now, because you'd have to fill that hole and shuffle a whole bunch of stuff around. I don't like it at all. I'm pleased that they kind of already announced that he's going to go.
At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and support his sick kids. Tony Van Dinther, thank you so much for the super chat. Love my Maple Leafs and always will. Also lost faith in Casper. AM34, go Tanev and Knies. Carry these guys. How them how? What is that? Oh, show them how. It says how them how. Producer Vic, thank you so much. I'm pretty much anchor man, but it says how them how. Show them how. But people are down in Austin Matthews, man. I don't know why it's weird, man. Throughout the season, I've just been very careful in how I pick my spots, because we don't know what's truly going on. And it's crazy. Austin Matthews at, say, 60, 70%, still an all-star. It just shows you how good he is.
Well, he's also not completely one-dimensional like some superstars, in the league would be. Maybe not superstars, but like stars. He can do other things like be super effective and kill penalties and, be good in the D zone and kind of set guys up and win those big face-offs and draws. And that's what you got to do. And I don't know. It's just weird because he's getting opportunities. Like if his shooting percentage was at like 11%, this would be a different series. He would have, I don't know the goddamn numbers. Like he'd probably have 2 more goals or 3 more goals or something like that. And, his career shooting percentage is like high 15, like almost 16%. I think he's at like 7 right now. If he bumped that up to 10, 11, it would be a completely different series. And it's just crazy to think that how in control and some of those clutch goals that they've had throughout the series kind of without him. But when you look at the puck being on his stick and like he's able to rip a shot off, but it just seems to wrap the glass. Like, I don't know if he's taped this fucking thing into a cast and just doesn't even know where the thing is going. It just kind of blows my mind that it's not bad enough that you're not playing and you're not doing more damage, but it's so bad that you don't know where the puck's going. It's just kind of melts my mind to think that, he's kind of that bad. Like he's missed the net more than anyone else in the league. And when I heard that stat the other day, I was like, that doesn't surprise me at all. Like how many times have you seen it going, yeah, Austin, wow, wrap the glass. He just misses the net all the time. And I just keep leaning towards wrist. I think he's had a bad wrist for a good chunk of his career. And I don't know, man, but how it must be taped into a goddamn cast so you can still win draws and stuff, but you can't load it up and rip it the way he's used to. I don't know. It's wild, but one has to go in here. He's got to hit the net at a part of it that the goalie's not at some point in time because he's still getting chances, man.
Yeah, they need it. Bottom line, if they can even just squeeze 1 or 2 goals for the rest of the series from Austin Matthews, they're playing well enough to win. I think goaltending clearly going to be a big story here between Sergei Bobrovsky and Joseph Woll. In support of Sick Kids, another super chat here from Robert Bett. Thank you so much. Another quick question. What happens first? Leafs win the Cup or Sabres get into the playoffs? I'm going to go with the Leafs. That's an easy answer. Buffalo sucks.
I would have to, too. Can you imagine we're talking about Buffalo right now?
No, I can't imagine talking. Sabres morning take? No, thank you. Eric Stahl, what a hire.
Imagine doing that show. Yeesh. No thanks. I'm very glad where we're at. Like, in general, the Leafs are a lot more exciting, but right now, like, goddamn, this is an exciting time. And I don't know if I said that at the end of my little rant there, but, like, going on my group chat and talking to my friends and having people say, holy, the Leafs look good, hey? And after so much of like, why can't they hold on to a lead? And what kind of circus is that? And what happened with this? And it's just like, I know. And now it's finally like, yeah, put some respect on that thing because they are playing phenomenal. I think they've opened a lot of people's eyes in the hockey world here, especially in this series.
Yeah, for sure. But you can't forget, we do get those reminders from time to time of the old Maple Leafs. We saw that in round 1. Fewer and far between in the second half of the season. Remember in the first half, there was like a producer Vic or Zach Phillips rant like every second week. And I do still recall, I think a month left in the season, Zach came on and producer Vic was right there. And he's like, they're not winning anything. I said it too. I'm like, this team's not beating Florida. I mean, they've exceeded expectations. Preparation's been huge. I couldn't agree with you more. The response is what's getting me. Every time the opponent gets them, they come right back. They don't skip a beat. It doesn't matter how the goal goes in, if it's Morgan Riley scoring it or whoever else. And that's a sign of a really good dialed-in team, man.
Yeah, I remember, my last year at the Leafs, I was with the Leafs all year, and then we missed the playoffs, and I went down to that Dallas Eakins coached Marley's team, and they went to the Calder Cup finals against John Cooper's Tampa team, where he brought a lot of those guys. They won. They were on another planet. But I remember getting there, and it was like a really good team, right? They had depth. They could run through the lines. And I remember my buddy going like, dude, we don't worry about anything. Like, we could get down 2, and nobody even flinches. We just come roaring back. And that's the sign of a good team, like just knowing that you can get back in the game. Like, no one's so good that you're just in control all the time. Nobody. And when you're not in control, it's like, what do you do to get it back and to regain it? And how quick can you do that? And do you believe in your abilities to do so. And they do now, just like a switch is flipped, where it's not that long ago, they'd all like look at each other and, well, how do we do this? And who's going to do that? And what are we supposed to do now? And it was that look on their face all the time. And you're all like, oh God, like we're ruined. Like there's no way we're getting back in this game. And now it's just like, yeah, that's fine, boys. Like even if they go down 1 or 2 tonight, it's like, it's all right. There's time on the clock. They're going to keep buzzing, and they're going to get 1, and they're going to get the momentum, and they're going to keep at it, and they're going to get 2. And they do those things now. It seems like it's a small sample size, but they seem to have adopted everything that they've needed to at the right time. And they hit the floor running in the playoffs here. And it's those types of things that, I don't know if they show up on the numbers sheet or not, but it's that belief in themselves and their abilities to do it together that I think is a hallmark of good teams.
Consistency and belief, 2 words I would sort of draw from that angle as well. And I think that's what's honestly a lot different with this Maple Leafs team right now as we get set for Game 4 here at Amerant Bank Arena. Nick Alberga, Jay Rosehill. Want to get into the action for Stanley Cup playoffs at Bet365? They got you. From game props, player props, totals, and the money line. You can even bet on futures like series winners, conference champions, the Stanley Cup champions, and much, much more. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in the game. An official partner of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Must be 19 or older. Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit connexontario.ca. Anything specifically you're looking at tonight, Rosie?
Well, I just kind of have decided that every single game I'm taking Leafs money line. I just think it's the right thing to do. I want to see if Vegas softened on that one. My goodness. They're plus 165. Ooh. Oh, my God. Dude, they're winning this game. Winning this game. I might just mash money line. Goal scorers tonight. When Willie kind of had his controller disconnect there in the D zone.
He did.
Oh, God. He looks so bad when he's like tired or doesn't have juice in his legs or whatever. Like he just seems so like F it. But when he kind of gets criticized or looks bad on the replay, he tends to come back and remind everybody who he is. So I'll take a Willie Nylander anytime goal. And I just can't not take Matthew Knies. That's my 3 bets. Money line, Willie, Knies guy.
Shout out Mama Knies as well. Big friend of the podcast here. And we have to back.
I got to go find her.
Yeah, we do. We have to back Matty Knies. He's been so great. Tonight's the night. Scott Laughton. That's my play. I think everything's been building towards a big goal from that fourth line. They've been impeccable. They've been all around it in the O-zone, like exactly what you want from your bottom 6. They're all around it. So I'm going to take a Scott Laughton anytime goal on the road tonight in Game 4.
I think that just would fit the script, and it wouldn't just be like, a 2-2 goal at the beginning of the second period. It would be like a monster, like a monster at a critical time in the game. I can picture their celly. I can picture Lottie's face as he buries, and it like takes the pressure off, the Austin Matthews situation, that kind of thing. And it would be a gritty playoff goal at the right moment, and it would kind of be his "you are a Toronto Maple Leaf" moment. I love that for him.
He's in the battle, too. I thought he had a great series against Ottawa. He was going toe-to-toe with Claude Giroux. Now it's been Brad Marchand that the Laughton line has been going toe-to-toe with quite a bit, and that third line for the Florida Panthers. So, Rosie, we'll leave it at that. Again, the Leafs Nation After Dark with Zach Phillips directly following the game. I believe Stephen Ellis is going to drop by the show tonight. We got all avenues covered, and tomorrow morning, again, another edition of Leafs Morning Take as we recap Game 4. And look ahead, 2-day break. Don't forget that Game 5 on Wednesday night at Scotiabank Arena in Toronto.
Whoa, even more reason to want to get a W today. It would be tough. It was long enough from Game 3 to tonight, man. My goodness, it seems like 4 days here. But, yeah, you don't want to sit on that going back home with some ugly vibes. So you get a little bit of an extra rest, too. That's going to be huge for Austin Matthews and Anthony Stolarz. Empty the tank tonight, boys.
Also, the sheet coming up at 1 p.m. Eastern Time here from Amerant Bank Arena. In the bullpen right now, Jeff Merrick getting set for the program. Greg Wyshynski's going to drop by. Should also thank the Florida Panthers for their hospitality here at Amerant Bank Arena because we are striking down. We're going to do tomorrow's show from our hotel. So can't thank the Panthers enough for their hospitality. Love the palm trees in the background too, eh?
Yes, it is a little bit nicer than the hayfield in Kanata, Ontario. But yeah, it's awesome when other teams kind of like, when you hear they're like the spirit of the game and the spirit of sport. It's like, absolutely, we'll help you guys out and set you up. It's neat, and the teams are all just about as first class as you can get in this league. So a good thank you to Amblam Arena and the Florida Panthers, of course.
Yeah, shout out to Amblam Arena, and shout out to Jeff Merrick. Just booked me on his show without even telling me the words. So I'm going on the sheet today. I can't wait for that. Returning serve after my choice, by the way. My choice to be on the sheet today, not Merrick's. My choice. Rosie, excellent job, dude. And we'll talk tomorrow after Maple Leafs victory, okay?
I thought I was hosting the sheet now, and we're switch hitting hosting jobs here.
We're doing a swap here. So Merrick's going to do Leafs Morning Take. You're going to do the sheet moving forward, okay? You're going to run that show right into the ground. I know you, my friend.
That's exactly where it would go. Go Leafs, go, man. We'll talk to you tonight.
Sounds good. At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Leafs Morning Take, wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. And don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com. Thank you to producer Vic on site. For Jay Rosehill, I'm Nick Alberga. We'll talk tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews, we got clips, we got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.